3, 2, 1.
You ready?
You're listening to the Real Pineapple Podcast Network. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, theys, and gays. This is the Real Pineapple. This is your humble host, Hunter, here. I've got a review for the latest offering from director Jordan Ross, who you know from doing the film Thumper. You also know him from working on MTV's True Life, which I couldn't believe that when I started looking into his filmography. But this is also written by first-time screenwriter Ryan King. This stars Garrett Hedlund, who you know from several things, including most recently Tulsa King, Reservation Dogs. You of course know him as Sam Flynn from Tron Legacy, and of course it stars Noah Schanpp as well, who you know most likely from Stranger Things, Victoria Justice from Victorious. So getting right into this, I was really pretty intrigued by this movie. I like a good, soapy type thriller, and I mean this as a compliment. Man, this has fit the bill. So this stars Hedlund's Ethan, who's a former college professor, tutor now, does it kind of freelance. Him and Victoria Justice's Annie are having a baby, she's pregnant, and he goes ahead and gets this offering from his friend, who goes, oh, hey man, there's this family who's willing to pay you, I want to say it's $2,500 a day, which when I heard that, I went, God damn, I'd take that. But, and maybe this is just the very paranoid black person. Oh yeah, it is $2,500 a day. There's definitely that black part of me that just goes, that seems way too good to be true, and is always paranoid. So Ethan is like, oh, $2,500 a day to tutor some, rich brat? Hell yeah. And in the back of my head, I'm going, oh, that's a very bad thing, and you should be questioning this. And of course, that goes ahead and sets us on this journey. And I am going to dance around spoilers a bit on this one. Y'all know I typically try to keep it spoiler free, or at least to give you somewhat of a warning. So there will be some mild spoilers, but nothing too crazy. So one thing that I think this film does a really great job of is making go back and forth, because the opening montage to this film with the opening credits, it does really paint Ethan as, at worst or at best, someone who's very willing to push the lines of his marriage and fidelity. And they talk about that later on in the film. And that is something that's always kind of in the back of your head. As nice of a guy as he's trying to portray himself to be, that gear has at least been activated at least once. And that's something that is brought up later on. And as Ethan goes ahead and talks to Noah Schnapp's Jackson, and they get to know each other a little bit, there is this point where you just go, dude, you gotta get out. That was the thing that just kind of kept popping up in my head. I went, dude, you need to just leave. This money's not worth it. Just run away. But what I appreciate about the film is, while Ethan definitely should have run away, and let me be clear, he should have ran far away, the more we get to know Ethan, the more you realize how much of an ego he really does have. And honestly, to get into the circles he's gotten into just being a tutor, you probably do have to have a bit of an ego. And so when you get to see more Ethan, his personality, you go, okay, yeah, it actually does make sense that he'd kind of go, fuck it, who cares? I gotta give Victoria Justice some props here. I haven't seen Victoria Justice in a ton of stuff outside of her, Nickelodeon career. Actually, I did enjoy Fun Size quite a bit. That was actually really good. And I did see the first time when that came out. So she's done a couple things here and there that I have seen her in, gone like, you know what, okay. But she's actually pretty damn good in this. I do wish we would have gotten a little more screen time with her, but granted, it's not really about her. It's more about Ethan. But she does have really good chemistry with Hedlund, and you sympathize with her as the walls start closing in and as Ethan's world starts to fall apart. And boy, howdy, does it start to fall apart very quickly at points. The other person I'll get back to Hedlund in a second, but I really gotta shout out Noah Schanpp, because yes, Stranger Things. I get it. We're all waiting for season 5 to see how this shit wraps up. But, when you have a show like Stranger Things, the big question is, what's everyone going to do afterwards? What direction, acting-wise, career-wise, is everyone going to go through? And I always thought Noah Schnapp, especially the way he plays Will, I just went, this kid has a way of portraying emotion and pain that I think is going to really take him places, whether he wants to kind of go more into the horror genre or go more, indie dramas. I really think he's going to have a very, at the very least, he'll have a consistent career. But I gotta give him credit here. He scared the shit out of me at multiple points. There is this point pretty early on in the film where he's talking to Ethan, and they're starting to get to know each other. And, Ethan, to an extent, is kind of like, you're paying me all this money. Why are you paying me all this money? Let's talk about you. And there is this point where I'm sitting there going, just take the money and run. Take the money and run. Take the money and run. And he does a really good job, Jackson does, of manipulating Ethan very early on. And it's really not until it's too late that Ethan kind of goes, oh, fuck, I'm kind of screwed here. There's a point very early on where Ethan kind of lets it slip that he's having a kid. And Jackson, kind of without missing a beat, goes, what about the baby? Was it planned? And I went, why do you know that? And in that moment right there, I went, get the fuck out of there. The fact he's talking about your unborn child, there's no way that this ends positively. Get the fuck out of there. And Jackson is a great little sociopath. The way that he just kind of starts to twist and grind Ethan's gears, and you see Ethan getting just subtly more and more pissed off the more that Jackson just fucks with him. And it's very subtle at first. And that's something I really appreciate. I went, okay, you're fucking with him in a way that is definitely bruising his ego, but it's kind of being veiled by this, this I want to learn so badly. It's very manipulative, and it's really well done in Schnapp's performance. So there's an arrogance, as I mentioned, Ethan, that's actually kind of inspired. He, since he's helping Jackson, he has his own guest house, basically, that he's staying in. Honestly, one of the biggest red flags just from jump should have been the Wi-Fi password, which is the butler has a phone. And I know it seems like such a small deal, but I remember seeing that and going, why is that the Wi-Fi password? Like, I know it's supposed to be ha 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 funny, but that just made me go, oh, this rich family is a bunch of assholes. You should definitely fucking leave. But there's these other two people that are living with Noah, or with Jackson, pardon me. Jenny, who's played by Cabby Borders, and then Gavin, who's played by Johnny Weston. And they just have this, the Ponderosas from It's Always Sunny. They have that vibe to them. And the way that they're talking to Ethan, it's just little microaggressions all over the place. And yes, I get it. Ethan needs the money. They have a kid on the way. Yeah. But as things unfold in this movie, you're just kind of sitting there going, yeah, dude, you should have left like 30 minutes ago. And of course, as the walls start to close in and Jackson becomes more dangerous, it gets really intense. There's this one shot at the 20-minute and 46-second mark where Ethan is having a cigarette, I want to say on his balcony, and you just see Jackson staring at him through the window. And I just went, oh, that's really bad. That's really fucking bad. There's a point later on in the film when they're doing their tutoring sessions and Jackson just goes, yeah, I'm not feeling it. And Ethan kind of goes, well, your dad's paying me to do this shit. And he goes, how much would it cost for you to cancel our session today? And Ethan, kind of looks at him like, nah, man, I'm getting paid to do a job. And and Jackson just starts going up. Goes 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, and he hits $5,000. And Ethan goes, yeah, sure, I'll cancel yeah, sure, I'll cancel, it's fine. And there was this point. That was really when I was like, dude, you need to fucking leave. You need to fucking leave. There are points in this movie where I do think that it gets a little silly, especially in the last I would say the last 30 minutes. And I mean this as a compliment. This movie gets Batman nuts. It just goes insane in the last third. And for what this movie is, honestly, yeah, this worked for me. This isn't something that's going to be on my best of or anything like that, but I did have some really fun, campy fun with this. And the more you learn about these characters, the more you go, yeah, you all kind of deserve all of this. You kind of all deserve this smoke. And Annie's probably the most innocent one out of everyone, and even she is kind of like, kind of innocent. But again, I'll let you discover, the twist and everything for yourself. But when this movie ended, I went, this is a really fun, at points dumb, admittedly, but a very fun, like, Sunday morning, Saturday afternoon thriller. That's exactly what this is. This is like those movies you'd see on Warner Brothers before, like, right after they showed, like, sports. You know what I mean? But I really had fun with this. Again, is it dumb? Yeah. Is it fun? Hell yeah. As I mentioned, Garrett Hedlund, the turn that he makes is actually really inspired, because you think one way about him and then you think another way, and the movie kind of keeps you in this holding pattern in a sense of making you go back and forth between thinking, is he a piece of shit? Is he not a piece of shit? And the movie does a good job of kind of ping-ponging the audience back and forth on that way. As I mentioned, I think Noah Schanpp is the best performance in here. He just taps into this gear that I'd like to see him tap into more. I'd love to see him play a serial killer. Because there are definitely Macaulay Culkin good son vibes here. I really loved what Noah Schanpp brought to the table. And like I said earlier, I think Victoria Justice is better in this than she's going to be. There we go. Give him credit for. But getting my final thoughts, I know this is showing in theaters. It might be on streaming or available to rent at this point. So it is actually just in theaters right now. I would say my biggest kind of, I don't even want to say gripe, but this is me putting my expectations on the movie, and I can't admit that. There's a point where it feels like it's going to go kind of the erotic thriller route, and it just doesn't. It just kind of goes, we're good. And I think that could have actually been interesting, especially from the gay perspective, because there is this point where it feels like Jackson is definitely hitting on Ethan, and you go, wait, what? And then just kind of never comes up again. I went, oh, that actually would have been an interesting wrinkle to throw in there. And they kind of just abandon it. Given what happens later on and what you find out, it's a good thing they do. But they could have rewritten it to kind of make that be a thing. So I don't want to say disappointed, but I think that's a missed opportunity that they could have gone with to kind of give this a little more oomph. But as it stands, this is still, like I said, I still had fun with this. So I'm going to give this a solid, I'm going to go C+ on this. I think this is a perfect thing to rent at home. Like I said, I know it's out in theaters right now. It's the only way you can see it. So I would see this like on a $5 movie Tuesday or an early matinee. I think if you saw it at that pricing, you'd go, yeah, that was worth it. So yeah, I would give this a solid C+. But it's very campy in the best way. And like I said, where the film does wrap up, I went, okay, I really like where this wraps up. And as I mentioned, the last 30 minutes are just wonderfully insane, and there's a lot of fun to be had there. But yeah, C+ for the Tutor. So everyone, what did you think of the Tutor? Have you seen it? What do you think of this cast? Talk to me about Garrett Hedlund, because I do think Garrett Hedlund's actually a very underrated actor, and I was actually happy to see him kind of get a role like this to go ahead and kind of stretch out a little bit. But yeah, talk to me, people. What did you think of this? Let us know in the comments. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at jhunterreelpineapple. That's REEL pineapple. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and rate the podcast. It definitely helps us out. You can find us on SoundCloud, Apple, Google Podcasts, Podbean, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Amazon Music, TuneUp, and Samsung Podcasts, to name a few. You can like both our pages on Facebook at The Real Pineapple, again, REEL Pineapple, and Real Pineapple Games. You can find us on YouTube now. We're finally on YouTube, thank God. You can find us just at The Real Pineapple. You can follow me on Twitch. I'm going to be hopping on Twitch next month. Finally, my home office is almost set up, so I'm going to be hopping on Twitch. I'm not sure what I'm going to stream yet, but I'll let y'all know as we get closer. But you can follow me on twitch.tv/jhunterreelpineapple. Oh gosh, what else? You can follow me on TikTok at Black Shazam. You can follow me, Black Shazam 775, pardon me. You can follow me on Letterboxd at Black Shazam. And you can follow me on Instagram as well at jhunterreelpineapple. And if you want to find everywhere that you can follow the podcast, because my God, there's so many places to follow to follow the podcast, you can go ahead and follow our link tree, which is at linktr.ee/jhunterreelpineapple. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. My review for this really great indie drama called Balloon Animal that is live on the channel right now, and I got a chance to interview the star of the film in Catherine Waddle and the writer-director of the film. So please check that out. That is up on the channel right now. We're going to have reviews coming up here soon. It's been snowing in Reno, so I haven't been going to the theater because the roads have been insane. But we'll have reviews coming up here soon for lots of stuff, including the Super Mario Brothers movie, John Wick Chapter 4. Yeah, lots of stuff coming down the pipeline. But everyone, thank you so much for listening. Stay safe out there. Take care of each other, and we will talk to you soon.